Here's more wrestling news for November 28th, 2022. And we're starting off with WWE, and with the company scrapping their TLC and Day 1 premium live events, the promotion's next big show will be the Royal Rumble, which is the official starting point on the road to WrestleMania. As always, the show will be headlined by the 2 Royal Rumble matches, but WWE has a lot planned for the biggest event of January. Here are 5 storyline ideas that WWE has already discussed for the Royal Rumble. Number 5. Bad Bunny and Logan Paul face off. At WrestleMania 37, Bad Bunny blew everyone's expectations with his in-ring work, teaming with Damian Priest to defeat The Miz and John Morrison. Bunny's Canadian Destroyer on John Morrison went viral, and for good reason, but his performance may have been eclipsed by Logan Paul. In his 3 matches for WWE, Paul has wowed fans with both his in-ring work and his charisma, and it is reported that WWE wants a face-off between the two as part of the Men's Rumble match. This all hinges on Paul being recovered from the injuries he suffered at Crown Jewel, which does seem likely given that he's been told he'll be fully healed in 6 weeks' time. Plans for a face-off also hinge on Bunny being free for the Rumble, as he is continuing to dominate the music scene, but has always made time for wrestling in the past. If all goes as planned, a Bunny-Paul face-off in the Men's Royal Rumble match will happen, and will give WWE mainstream exposure at the start of 2023. Do you want to see Bunny and Paul face off in the Men's Rumble? If so, who will you be rooting for? Let us know in the comments. Number 4. Karrion Kross and Drew McIntyre don't compete. For a show that's stacked with surprise returns and shocking comebacks, it's interesting that WWE has been discussing who shouldn't compete at the Royal Rumble event. Kross and McIntyre have been 2 main players on SmackDown, and both are considered dark horse favorites to win the Men's Rumble match, but neither man may even step in the ring. It's reported that instead of the Royal Rumble match, WWE is considering having a singles match between the two at the show, as Kross won at Extreme Rules and Drew came out on top at Crown Jewel. The idea is that with WWE not wanting either man to look bad by losing the Men's Royal Rumble, a singles match could write them out of the Rumble if they beat each other to a pulp or fight their way out of the arena. This would mean extending their current feud all the way for another 2 months, which may prove difficult for even the most talented of WWE writers. With Kross and McIntyre out of the Men's Royal Rumble, the field would be cleared for someone else to win, and for the 2 SmackDown stars to challenge for the undisputed WWE Universal title down the line. Do you think it's right for WWE to keep 2 big stars out of the Rumble? Or would you rather see Kross and McIntyre fight for a WrestleMania opportunity at Roman Reigns? Number 3. Raquel Rodriguez wins the Women's Royal Rumble match. Since joining SmackDown earlier this year, Raquel Rodriguez has been an impressive force on the blue brand, but that hasn't seen her receive too many title opportunities. While Rodriguez has challenged Ronda Rousey in the past, it's been a while since their collision happened, and the seeds have already been sown for a rematch. On a recent episode of SmackDown, Rodriguez was injured by Rousey and Shayna Baszler and did not feature at all at Survivor Series Wargames as some had predicted. According to sources within WWE, there have been discussions about keeping Rodriguez off of TV until the Rumble, where she will make her triumphant return to win the women's match. There has been a pitch for Rodriguez to be the last woman in the ring alongside Shayna Baszler and get revenge on the Queen of Spades by eliminating her. From there, Raquel would waste no time in announcing her plans to challenge Rousey at WrestleMania and get the ultimate revenge at WWE's biggest event of the year. Number 2. Sami Zayn wins the Men's Royal Rumble match. For months, Sami Zayn has proven his loyalty to the Bloodline and even won over Jey Uso at the Survivor Series Wargames premium live event. Zayn has been one of the top performers in WWE this year and helped out immensely during the pandemic era, but a WWE World title run has eluded the master strategist. Fans predicted that Sami would turn on the Bloodline at Survivor Series, or that the group would turn on him, and while neither happened, it may be time for the 2 sides to part ways. Some in WWE have pitched for Zayn to win the Men's Rumble match and earn the opportunity to challenge Reigns, something that the Tribal Chief would actually be pleased about. After all, Reigns has proven his loyalty to the Bloodline, so Reigns would just naturally assume that Sami would surrender his title opportunity and Roman could have the night off. Instead, what fans would see is the slow build of a face turn for Zayn and splitting from the Bloodline, as the opportunity to become WWE World Champion would mean more than anything. Reigns versus Zayn at WrestleMania would no doubt be an excellent match, and do you think Zayn, after what we've seen, should be the one to dethrone the head of the table? Number 1. Cody Rhodes returns to win the Men's Royal Rumble match. As soon as Cody Rhodes went down with his torn pectoral injury, fans immediately speculated that a return at the Royal Rumble was in the works. WWE has tried to convince fans otherwise, saying that Cody won't be healed until March, but frankly, nobody is buying this claim. Despite not wrestling for close to half a year, Rhodes is the favorite of many to win the match, and it's no secret that fans want the American Nightmare to challenge Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. According to sources, WWE's creative team has pitched for him to return, but it is unclear if they plan on him winning or want to give somebody else the nod. Even if Rhodes doesn't win the Rumble, his time in the world title picture will come, possibly down the line at SummerSlam 2023. Do you think it should be Cody, Sami, or someone else who earns a chance to headline WrestleMania? Sound off in the comments. Last weekend, Wrestlecade took place at the Benton Convention Center in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and some of the biggest names in wrestling were in attendance. Unfortunately, not everyone who was initially promoted got to be at the con, as WWE decided to keep people from the show. Fightful Select reports that Johnny Gargano, Karrion, Kross, and Scarlett were all pulled from Wrestlecade by WWE just in case they were needed at Survivor Series Wargames. The trio were not needed, but WWE did give back, sending JBL to the convention in their place. Interestingly, Chelsea Green was also booked for the convention but later pulled out, and it has been rumored that she is set to return to WWE very soon. WWE hasn't confirmed reports of Green's return, but her comeback is said to be a done deal, and whatever the case, it's interesting that she didn't show up to Wrestlecade, just like the 3 full-time WWE names. Johnny Gargano, Karrion, Kross, and Scarlett didn't appear at Survivor Series, but they're not the only ones who went unused at last weekend's premium live event. Hit Row weren't featured at Survivor Series Wargames either, but that nearly wasn't the case. Fightful Select reports that the group was brought into Boston for the show, saying, Hit Row and several others that weren't used on Survivor Series were still brought to Boston. Hit Row were never booked for a match at the event, but could have been featured in a backstage segment, but if nothing else, at least they got to see the show in person. In 2019, Kurt Angle competed in his final match, facing Baron Corbin in a losing effort at WrestleMania 35. While multiple promotions have tried to coax Kurt into another run, the Olympian has refused, but he is willing to lace up his boots one more time for the right price. Speaking on the latest episode of his podcast, Kurt explained that he's willing to wrestle for WWE again for the price of $10 million. Angle added the WWE can afford that fee, though we doubt they'd be willing to pay, and given how his performance in his last few matches went, it may be for the best that Kurt stays out of the ring. After last weekend's Survivor Series Wargames event, WWE hosted a post-show press conference, which thankfully didn't result in a backstage fight like a certain other company. Instead, talent spoke in character about their matches, while Triple H gave an update on WWE's future plans. But what is the future for the press conference itself? Well, Fightful Select has learned that the response backstage to these talks have been very positive and that they are hoping to do more in the future. That isn't a guarantee that all premium live events will have post-show talk, but it is clear that WWE is looking to branch out in the way they both promote and cover their own events. It was during a press conference that Roman Reigns vs. Logan Paul was made official for Crown Jewel, and the two were part of a press conference just the day before the Saudi event. Unlike his predecessor, Triple H has a more open stance with the wrestling media, as fans saw previously with his work in NXT, so expect more of these press conferences down the line. And we're ending today with more from Survivor Series Wargames, as before the show began, a tweet from Triple H had plenty of fans talking. In the tweet, the game shared a video of William Regal announcing Wargames, and many fans speculated on whether the Brit could be returning to WWE. It was on last week's AEW Dynamite that Jon Moxley told Regal to run away and never come back, and it's not just the fans discussing a Regal return. On his show, Meltzer said that Regal has months left on his current deal with AEW, and that there has been talk within WWE about trying to bring him back. Of course, Tony Khan is expected to make a play to keep Regal around, and if he signed a one-year deal after his Revolution 2022 debut, then his contract will expire in March 2023. It's no secret that Regal is good friends with Triple H, even being one of the game's groomsmen in 2003, and it's telling that those in WWE are discussing bringing him back. Well guys, that's our news for today. Please share your comments below. Also hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive all notifications. And as always, thanks for watching.